What is the true force behind your choices, behind your ambition, behind the very shape of your life? At every moment, a universe of paths opens before you, but you choose one. Why? What are you really aiming at? Ask the average person, and a familiar answer echoes back. Happiness. This idea, rooted in Aristotle and echoed throughout Western thought, claims that every action we take, no matter how complex, ultimately seeks happiness. Even sacrifice, even hardship, is a calculated bid for well-being. It's a comforting thought, isn't it, that behind all the chaos, all the struggle, lies a simple motive, the pursuit of contentment. But what if that idea is wrong? What about the person who lives a life of hardship for a cause, who raises a large family under great stress, or sacrifices sleep, wealth, and comfort to serve a higher mission? You may hear them say, "My life isn't about happiness, it's about duty." And yet, the happiness theorist responds, even that duty gives you meaning, and that meaning gives you satisfaction. So isn't it still happiness you chase, just in disguise? But the illusion cracks when we turn toward darker impulses. If happiness is our compass, why do we so often act against it? Why do we stew in resentment, jealousy, guilt, emotions we know will make us suffer? No one wakes up thinking, "Today I'll drown myself in envy and bitterness because it makes me happy." So, why do we do it? One explanation, borrowing from Schopenhauer, replaces happiness with survival. Perhaps what truly drives us is the will to life, an instinctual push to keep going. Under this lens, even guilt or jealousy becomes functional. These emotions may hurt, but they keep us in line. Guilt, for example, evolved to preserve our place in the tribe. Without it, we risk exile, and exile in ancient times meant death. So pain becomes the price of continued existence. But Nietzsche wasn't satisfied with this answer either.
If survival is our highest goal, why do humans take unnecessary risks? Why climb mountains? Why start revolutions? Why leap from airplanes for sport? Survival alone cannot explain the reckless, creative, rebellious spirit of humankind. There must be something deeper, and this is where Nietzsche drops his thunderbolt. We are not driven by a will to happiness, nor by a will to life. We are driven by a will to power. But what is this power? Nietzsche doesn't mean domination or tyranny in the crude political sense. The will to power is the drive to expand, to grow, to express oneself fully. It is the impulse to become who you are, to overcome resistance, external and internal, and carve your essence into the world, like a sculptor revealing the form hidden in stone. Look at the bear in the wild. It doesn't simply survive. It conquers territory, asserts dominance, improves its conditions. It doesn't settle, it expands. This is power, not in conquest, but in becoming. We humans do the same, but with far more subtlety, through art, through ideas, through careers, relationships, creation, destruction, even the act of giving, helping the weak, sacrificing for others, can be an expression of power. Because power, in Nietzsche's sense, is about self-expression. To enforce your values on the world, even gently, is to exert will. This is why Nietzsche saw both the tyrant and the saint as driven by the same impulse. Both seek to shape reality in their image. The difference lies not in their motivation, but in their manifestation. Of course, Nietzsche's ideas were tragically distorted. After his mental collapse, his sister Elizabeth edited and published his work, twisting it to fit her own nationalist and anti-Semitic agenda. The Nazis later misappropriated Nietzsche's will to power as a justification for atrocity. But those who actually read Nietzsche know he rejected such vulgar interpretations. His will to power was not a call to oppression, it was a call to authenticity, a philosophy of transformation, of becoming. Some scholars have argued Nietzsche meant this literally, that the entire universe is composed not of matter, but of forces competing for dominance. That stars, atoms, even galaxies are expressions of a cosmic will to power.
Perhaps. But even if we reject this metaphysical reading, the psychological insight remains razor sharp. We are not creatures of comfort. We are creatures of ascent. This ascent is never smooth, because when billions of individual wills to power collide, conflict is inevitable. You want one thing, I want another, and we both cannot win, so what then? Philosophy, especially Stoicism and Buddhism, offers an answer: surrender. If we cannot control the world, we must master our minds. Train ourselves to detach, to become impervious to joy and sorrow alike, to become serene sages unmoved by life's turbulence. But Nietzsche found this ideal hollow. He asked, if you numb yourself to grief, don't you also numb yourself to joy? If detachment protects us from loss, it also dulls the brightness of love, the thrill of success, the pain and beauty of being alive. Why strive for serenity when you could strive for greatness? Instead of accepting our limits, Nietzsche urges us to transcend them, to impose order where there is chaos, to struggle, to suffer, to rise again and again, because suffering is not a curse. It is the forge in which greatness is made. A mountain, he said, is climbed in pain, but only from its summit can we see the world as it truly is. Nietzsche's life was no stranger to pain, chronic illness, isolation, financial ruin, but he did not resent his suffering. He celebrated it. He wrote, I do not want a life without struggle. I wish suffering, hardship, and adversity, because only through them do we prove our worth. His challenge is brutal, but clear. Don't run from suffering. Use it. Let it chisel you into who you are meant to become. And that challenge reaches its peak in one of Nietzsche's most unsettling ideas: eternal recurrence. Imagine this. After your death, you must live your exact life again. Every moment, every decision, every heartbreak, every joy, over and over, forever. Would you curse that fate, or would you embrace it? This is Nietzsche's ultimate test. Live in such a way that you would want to relive every second. Not change it, not regret it, but affirm it fully. This, he says, is the mark of a life well lived. This is amor fati, the love of fate. So now we return to the original question. Why do you do what you do? Nietzsche's answer? To express your power, to become who you are, to overcome, not because it's easy, not because it's safe, but because it is the only path worthy of your soul. And if you walk it, eyes open, fists clenched, heart burning, you may one day look back and say, yes, let it come again. I would live it all just as it was. Because that is the will to power, and that is freedom.